Well guys, back at it again. It's cold in the shed, as you can see, rugged up. It's night time at the minute. But we're going to go ahead and yeah, basically fit up the accessories and bits and pieces on the engine here, sensors and fuel injectors and rails, and we'll get it built up and have a look at the exhaust system, see what we're going to do there. And then yeah, we may even get it down to the dyno. Alright. So jamming the water pump on. This is one from Adelaide. Reverse rotation. I did have one of the viewers ask a question about the coils timing cover on the front, and then whether the water pump, the short nose or the short water pump, Chevy water pump, would fit on that without hitting it. And it does, but you to make it clear, the two bottom bolts on the pump here, you need to shave off the heads a little bit. Just reduce the thickness of those heads so they miss the timing cover here. Anyway, let's get her on. Another little groovy feature of the Adelaide water pump here. Underneath, they've got a little like a little screw or a stop that you can adjust the screw into the back or the front of the timing case, which helps with deflection. The engine at high RPM. Although this is a pretty sturdy front timing case, being aluminium, I think we still may even see some deflection. If it was a tin case, a lot thinner, then obviously this would play a bigger part in stopping that flex as the camshaft's trying to push its way forward out of the engine. But anyway, yeah, we just lock that off and nip him up, and that is that. Alrighty, so next up I'm going to talk a little bit injectors. These are the old ones that come out of a vehicle that I was using. They're a set of Bosch injectors. Basically, they machine the pintle or the cap off the end of them. They're just a Bosch injector, like I said, and they machine the end off and they flow, you know, 1,000 cc's. I never actually had them flow. I believe it might have had a bit of discrepancy. Cylinder 5 and 7 on the last engine may have been running a little bit leaner, so I might still get these checked. I've marked the injectors here, what cylinders they came out of, so I might get them flow checked just for a sanity check more than anything. So the new injectors I'm going to use for the build are from Injector Dynamics. I've had these sitting around for a while. These are quite good. Come with all the plugs, clips, terminals for the harnesses. They're injectors. Haven't got them out of the bag yet, but we'll get into that very shortly because we're going to put them in the manifold here. What else do we get with this? Some desiccant, some decals, nice, and what's this? Nothing. So there we go. Visit the website for the data sheets on these injectors. So these injectors, or this company, supply all the dead time or dwell time for the injectors, and that's important to have edited into your ECM. The delay in which the signal is actually sent to open the injector, when the injector actually does. We're only talking milliseconds, but basically they give you all the dead time. They call that dead time. Obviously the little coil in the injector's got to juice up or energize and then open the pintle, and that's the dead time. There's a miniature delay there between the ECM wanting the injector to fire and it actually firing. So it's good to have that information. We'll get all that off the website and we'll make sure that's all inputted into the ECM. And so we can get every cylinder perfectly tuned for fueling. Alright, let's get these in. Got the injectors out of the hole or out of the box. Just got a little bit of grease here, that's all I'm going to use to lube these up. Righto, let's get the rest of them in. Next is get the rail mounts in. Got fuel rail. I don't believe there's too much rocket science involved in here. Just make sure they are all started in the hole so we don't pinch any of the O-rings. And that's it. So we're going to put the distributor in the back of the manifold here, and we may need to use a screwdriver. A little bit there shining back at you with a slot in it. That's the oil pump drive. That drives off the gear, off the bottom of the distributor. And you can see the camshaft gear just to the left there. But we may need to turn that drive there, that shaft, with a screwdriver so we can line up in the bottom of the distributor drive. And that little slot there is where it drops down into the drive shaft that comes from the top of the oil pump. We'll put some lubrication on this, some moly lube, and we'll slot it in. So we're just a couple of bolts in the head here, and these are the adapters that I had made up, drew up and then had them CNC machined. And the idea behind these was they're nice and thick, so you could use the original two holes here, and here, which the flange bolts up to, and these two bolts, and then the other flanges was for the manifold that goes on. Because it's nice and thick, you don't get the distortion, so it negates any leaks that this old small block Chev, the early one anyway, has between the two bolt holes. That coupled with a copper gasket made for a really good sealing and mating surface. So this worked well with the old heads, the Adelaide heads. Now that we've got the AFRs on there, the ports here are a little bit bigger, and we're going to have to put these on, mark the back side with a scribe up on the port and see how much meat we've got on top. Just dip this one up with a couple of studs. And go around. Scribe that. We'll fit it with a bit of red paint on the back side. Looks like we've got to take a fair bit out there. Up around here. Not going to leave us much room. Alright, so we've gone ahead and diagrammed out the spacer here. Turned out relatively good. So there's the original one versus the top one there, which we've marked up and taken out material using the die grinder. So that's alright. We've just got the other side here now. We'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing, bang that on, mark it up, and die grind that. Alright, so we've got you looking over my shoulder here. And again, this is about as exciting as watching paint dry. But let's see if we can get some action. Once we're happy with that, and now we just got to blend it back all the way back in the inside here. Blend this back flat to the opening of the round bit there, so there's a bit of a lump there. Take it off, flatten it out. Time consuming, and yeah, yeah, it just is. Anyway, I'll leave you at that. I'll come back when I finish this one. So we've got the basic shape chopped out here. It's pretty flat, the carbide bit, and we're going with the stone, just clean it up a little. Sort of show us a little bit of the high spots as well, if we've got any. Not bad. Right. Now we'll just change here to a cartridge roll. So now we'll just give it a tickle with the Scotch Brite roll. Focus. That there is pretty well done. Nice. Well, hi guys, a bit of a change of gear here. I've actually reached out to a fellow YouTuber, Trevor from Ostorations. Trevor's a professional, so we can't show you his face. Say hello, Trev. Beautiful. So Trevor, if you check out his channel, he does lots of all sorts of bits and pieces and restores old stuff. It's quite interesting, but what he does do is a bit of powder coating. So the top hat for the intercooler, we're going to have a crack at powder coating this today. Hopefully it turns out well, and we'll take you through the process. Righto, let's get into it. We've got to prepare it first before we put the powder coat on and bake it. We need to pretty well remove all the oxides on the aluminium. We're going to put it in the oven, heat it up, which will hopefully open any pores and leach out any oils that are stuck in any porous of aluminium. And then we'll put it into the oven. We'll coat it and then put it into the oven and bake it. Okay, so we pulled her out of the sandblaster. Got a nice rough texture on it here. Okay, so in the oven, this is the bit where we degas and try and burn out or pull out any oils from the metal. Alright, so we've been in here 40 minutes and oven wasn't turned on. Yeah, maybe we'll go with this one and turn the oven on. Well, you know, while we're waiting for the oven to cook, why not? Knock him on. Smoke it. Powder comes in a bag here. Just use some jet black, some gloss, and we're going to put it into the applicator tub. A few scoops in there, and we're going to spray it on the part. So the plan now is to tape off some of this area so we don't get any of the powder coat on the inside. Alright, so guys, this is my first time at having a crack at powder coating. So the idea of it is it's electrostatically attracted to the piece. We have a power pack down here. We have an earth strap that goes to an earth strap inside the unit with our piece of equipment that we want to powder coat. The positive side comes in on the gun. We hit the go pedal down below and we check. We've got 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. We're good. Let's give it a crack. Armed. And that's really cool. That is just attracting to that part. Excellent. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but we preheat the oven to 220°C. And we let that cook until the part gets to 210°C, and we cook for 10 minutes. Yep, for my first attempt, I've got to say thank you, Trevor. It turned out excellent. I can't show you his face, but Trevor, thank you, mate. Perfect. Let's get the studs in. Silver anti-seize. Alrighty, we've got all the port matching done here with the adapters from the cylinder head to the turbo manifolds. We've gone along and port matched all of our gaskets. The copper gasket goes between the adapter and the cylinder head. I've already got a couple bolted down here already. And then the stainless steel one goes between the adapter and the exhaust manifold to the turbo. So what we're going to do now, I've used these gaskets quite a few times. Copper gasket, they're good because they transfer heat into the cylinder head from the exhaust manifold, and because they're soft, they're probably malleable, and they form well, meaning they have a good seal. So because they've been used a few times on a different cylinder head, these are different cylinder heads, we're going to go and anneal the copper. So we're going to heat these up cherry red and drop them in a bucket of water, and then they'll soften them right up. We'll clean them up, and then we'll get the other side fitted up. And that there, that's hot, is annealed. So that's all nice and soft now. We clean them up with a bit of Scotch-Brite, and that'll form up nice between the cylinder head and the adapter. Beautiful. Got the intercooler core here, some hot soapy water, put some caps on the where the coolant goes in and out, and we're going to try and clean up the core here a little bit better. I'll put a bit more car wash in as well, I think. The core is relatively cool, this is hot, so if we've got any holes we'll probably see bubbles. I don't want to see any bubbles, because that would just suck. Uh-oh. That looks like bubbles. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that at all. And here too. Oh no. The one core is leaking. Yep, this is toasted. Let me think about that. That's put a downer on the situation. I may have done a lot of work that I probably didn't need to do, but what to do now? This core here, around here somewhere, well, there's two places where we've got a leak, so one of these tubes is leaking. Again, this was gifted to me, this intercooler core. I probably should have checked it for leaks before I started thinking to use it. I guess I'll get online and see what a new one's worth from Vortec, and or maybe see if I can purchase 3 cores and make one of these up. So basically what we've ended up doing is we've tried having a crack at fixing the core. Talking to some people in the industry, one way of doing that was to try and see if we can pull the core into a vacuum with either a vacuum cleaner or something, and then feed a bit of silicone in the hole in the core. We did try that, and it somewhat worked. It's a bit hard to see here, but you can see just there we tried putting some silicone into the hole. It's quite big. It's about 32 millimeters down on that tube. Unfortunately, when it set and it seemed like it held, and I pressure tested it, it held for a bit, and then it popped and didn't seal. So even though we tried repairing with the silicone, and if it did actually work, I'm in a second mind that if it did, leak again, then we're going to get coolant into the engine. which, you know, depending on how much gets in, could cause a hydraulic lock, or if you've got glycol in the system, you know, detonation. So I think it's best that we probably discard this core and we work with something new. So today I've bitten the bullet and I've gone and got a couple of Garrett cores. Let's have a look at those now. So again, called up Bill Keane down at Adelaide Servo Services. Said, hey guys, you got any cores? And they said, yeah, no, we can get you a couple in. So these are what they class as 1,000 horsepower cores. So we've got 2 of them. We have to make tanks up for the coolant to go through here. And then obviously a new air box, top and bottom, or an adapter to fit the air box that I have, the arrangement that I have anyway, to fit these cores. Dragging the intercooler over, the old one, they will sit like this. Actually, let's bring it over here a bit better. They will sit like that, so I'll get two of these cores in, which will give me the cooling capacity for 2,000 horsepower. I'm not going to be making 2,000 horsepower, but hey, you know, always good to dream. What I will have to do, we will have to probably draw these flanges up along here, and obviously make them a bit thicker on the sides, because when we weld it up we're going to have a bit of a space, and then obviously the bolts, so the top and bottom hats fit the same as. Anyway, that's the plan for that one. Let's grab the other one out here and stick it next to it, see how it fits. I haven't actually done that yet. Yeah, that's mint. So that will work pretty good. Like I said, when I make a top and bottom plate up, I'll make it thicker so we can weld it to the top and bottom of the core and box it in. Yeah, that'll work out alright, I'm thinking. So that's it for this one, guys. Yeah, look, I would have liked to have got the engine on the stand at the back here, the test stand, just to run it up, make sure we got good oil pressure, you know, check things over, timing, this and that, start it up, listen to it for the first time, would have been awesome. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because of the setback with the intercooler here. But next time, hopefully we get some good content, you know, making the intercooler box up and welding it up and getting it together and back onto the engine here. And then hopefully from there we get this thing started up, finally. That will be a good day. So that's it for this one, guys. And remember, all gas, no brakes. Keep it on track.